My teacher tried to roast my late essay out loud, but I wrote it in Shakespeare's beat. In 10th grade, my English teacher, Mrs. Trask, had a rule that scared everyone. If you turned in an essay late, she didn't just take points off. She would read it out loud to the whole class and mark every mistake with a red pen while you stood next to her. She called it public editing, like it was helpful, but it was pure embarrassment. She had a stiff gray haircut, glasses on a chain, and this calm smile that made it worse every single time. She'd stop at each error, circle it, and ask the class if anyone could fix it. Nobody wanted to help her roast someone, so the room would go dead quiet. Then she'd write the number of mistakes on the board like a score, so everyone knew exactly how bad you did. I was the kid she was waiting for all semester. I always did homework at the last second again. I wrote stuff during lunch, between classes, anywhere. Every time she handed back papers, she'd look at me like she was just counting down to the day I slipped up. Then she assigned a 5-page Shakespeare essay due Friday. I told myself I'd start early. I didn't. By Thursday night, I had nothing but a title and a blank page. Friday morning, I walked into class without the essay, and my stomach dropped the second I saw her red pen sitting on her desk. She started class like normal, then paused and said, "Today we finally get a special presentation." She said my name like it was a prize. The room went silent. Zach gave me a sad look. Leah whispered, "Sorry." Mrs. Trask uncapped her pen with a sharp click and told me to come to the front. I stood there, empty-handed, while she told everyone this is what happens when you miss deadlines. My face felt hot. Then she said I could still turn it in right now, and we'd do public editing anyway. That was the moment I played my card. I told her I did have the essay. I just hadn't turned it in earlier. Her eyes lit up. She snatched the pages like she couldn't wait and told me to stand beside her. What she didn't know was what I'd done the night I realized I was late. If I was going to get humiliated, I wanted it to backfire on her. So I wrote the whole essay in iambic pentameter, the same beat Shakespeare used. 10 beats, over and over. But I hid it inside normal-looking paragraphs. No line breaks at all. No obvious rhyme. Just a regular Hamlet analysis that secretly marched to a rhythm. I sat at my kitchen table with a metronome app, whispering lines and counting on my fingers. Twice I had to rewrite whole paragraphs because one extra word ruined the beat. Around 2 a.m., I was so tired I almost gave up, but I pictured her circling my mistakes in front of everyone, so I kept going. I printed it before first period and kept checking my backpack like the pages might disappear. I made sure the grammar was clean, the quotes were right, and the points actually made sense, because if she found real mistakes, I was done. Mrs. Trask started reading. The first few sentences sounded normal, then she slowed down. Something felt off to her, like the words were too smooth. A couple kids tilted their heads. Someone started tapping a pencil without thinking. Mrs. Trask kept reading, hunting for errors, but she couldn't grab one. The tapping got steadier. Julia started mouthing the words like she could feel the beat. Dante, who always slept, sat up and stared. Then a kid whispered, "Wait, this sounds like Shakespeare." Another kid tried to hold in a laugh and failed. Mrs. Trask looked up, suspicious, but she didn't know why everyone was acting weird. She kept reading, and the rhythm got more obvious. A few kids nodded along. Someone snapped their fingers once, then again. Mrs. Trask's pen froze in midair. She tried to jump to the middle of the paper, like that would break it, but it didn't. The beat was still there too. She went back to the top, then stopped and said, "Stop tapping." The room went quiet, but the rhythm stayed, because it was coming from her own voice now. She pushed through to my Ophelia section, and half the class was grinning openly. She hit my conclusion, and the last line landed perfectly on the beat. The class burst into claps and laughter. Mrs. Trask stood there holding my paper like it had betrayed her. She stared at the page, then at me, then back at the page. Finally, she said, "Did you seriously write an entire 5-page essay in Shakespeare's rhythm?" I nodded and said, "You told us to use his techniques, so I did." She looked furious for a second. Then she scanned the pages again, desperate to find something to mark. There was nothing. No messy sentences, no wrong commas, no weak points she could call out. Her whole system was built on catching mistakes in front of everyone, and I'd taken that away. She took a long breath, stared at the red pen in her hand, and then, like it hurt,